exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 313, Saturday. Reigning light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira defends his title against number one contender Magomed Ankalaev, and an explosive lightweight bout between Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. UFC 313, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPV.
You're listening to Make Some Noise podcast, Minisode number 663. Welcome to Make Some Noise podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Minisode. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that you've been loving the Wednesday episodes. I've been loving bringing them to you. I am kind of flying by the seat of my pants a little bit in terms of what these lessons are. I'm letting them come to me intuitively, and I'm letting them build on each other. And the first 4 have been so amazing to bring you, and I can't wait to bring you the rest of them. So today is a traditional minisode. It's a short episode. Well, you know what? I'm going to let the episode speak for itself. I'm going to let the person that I'm having on explain how we came to do this particular little episode for you. And her name is Kathryn. I'm just absolutely honored to introduce you to her. And one thing I do want to mention is that if you are interested in working with me privately, I do have some openings for this coming spring. So I have a couple of different ways that you can work with me. We can either do the Daring Way, which is a deep dive into the methodology that I have been trained and certified in with Brene Brown senior faculty for 11 years now. 11 years, yes. And I am elated to be able to bring that to you. Or I do offer open sessions. That's where you bring your primary focus. So if you go to andreaowen.com/coaching, that is the Daring Way page. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the very last FAQ, there is a link for what I call open sessions, where you bring what you want to work on. Either one, I do have openings this spring, and I would love to hop on the phone with you after you fill out that application. We can see if we're a good fit to work together, and I can tell you more about the packages that I offer. All right? All right. So without further ado, here is the Minisode with Kathryn. Kathryn, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a treat. It is always a treat to get to talk to you, but even more so of a treat because you are a past client of mine. And I wanted to it was actually your idea to come on.
It was. I wanted to come on and sing your praises. And I asked you if I could do that. So
and I'm honored. And so before we get too excited into it, can you just, quickly introduce yourself to the people listening?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Kathryn, and about 2 years ago, kind of at this time, it was in February or March, I reached out to you, Andrea, because I had read your books before. I've listened to your podcasts, and I knew you were offering life coaching. And I was just feeling like I was in a place in my life where I was feeling kind of stuck. I felt like I had kind of lost my spark, which is really not me. And I just wanted some guidance and some tough love and, just some direction, kind of figuring things out, making some decisions in my life that I was contemplating at the time. And so I reached out to you and we started life coaching sessions together.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you saying that because it's one of those things where it's a question for people like, how do I know I'm ready for a life coach? And so you mentioned like feeling stuck about a particular decision and also feeling like, so was it kind of like you had been at a place in your life before where you had felt more of a spark, or you hadn't, but you knew you could get there?
No, I definitely have been someone where I typically do have that spark. I think it's worth noting I'm actually a mental health therapist. I know the tools, I know the things, but there was just something that was I just felt very compelled to reach out to you to work with you specifically, just because I was getting in my own way about certain things.
So you knew that. That's interesting too. I mean, I knew you were a therapist, but
Yes.
I think that for some people that can be the sort of the answer that they're looking for. If you, whether you work in personal growth or not, but anyone
Mhm.
listening to this podcast, knows a thing or two about it. So it's like you have the tools and you're not really using them, or you don't know which tools to use, or you're.
Mhm.
So how would you describe getting in your own way? What did that look like for you?
Part of it was that for one, I'm so used to being the person who's there supporting and helping others and helping guide them, that I wanted that type of support for me in this
Mhm.
type of setting. But I was living in a place where I just felt like I wanted to make a move. I wanted to start a side business kind
Yeah.
of for
Make a move,
fun,
like a geographical move,
geographical
literal move.
move,
Yeah. Okay.
but I didn't want to upset my family.
Mm.
And so I was kind of sacrificing my wants and needs because I didn't want to upset others.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of process through that and make what felt like the right decision for me. But it was really hard. I have been a people pleaser my whole life. I wasn't tapping into my full potential when it came to certain things. And I wanted to work with you in order to, I guess, give myself permission to
Mhm.
stop playing small and to take
Yeah.
chances, step outside of my comfort zone.
Well, and that's sort of the beauty of coaching and how it differs from therapy. And I know that there are many therapists that combine the two and can really beautifully be both a therapist and a coach for someone. But I just wanted to point out like one of the things that coaching gives people is meeting them where they're at. Like we didn't dive hardly at all into your past. That's what therapy is for. But it was like, where are you at now? What do you want? And what is stopping you? And then I'm gonna coach you, the person, on that so you can take action on it. And so what do you think? Like, was there anything that was really scary for you in our work that we did together?
Being vulnerable and just kind of, yeah, being on the other side of things was
Mhm.
hard for me at first because, as I mentioned, I'm typically the one who's kind of sitting in
Asking all the
your seat
questions. Yeah.
asking the questions. So I had to get really honest with myself about the things that I was doing that were holding me back. And fear played a big role in that, fear of failure, fear of
Mhm.
success, fear of rejection, fear of so many things. Just exploring that. It was a little scary at first, but also I really do, I'm so grateful because you did help me feel very comfortable doing that.
Mhm.
And you also made it kind of fun. I mean, it wasn't something I was dreading. It was something that I was looking forward to meeting with you because I knew I would leave feeling even more empowered and just like
Yeah.
ready to take the next step.
I appreciate that so much because I think one of the things I forget about my strengths is that I might portray a certain style or voice like in my books and on my podcast, but when it comes to meeting people one-on-one and working with them one-on-one, I will adjust for you. Like this isn't about me and how I do your life. Like this is your life. Like I'm going to meet you where you're at and figure out what works in terms of how hard to push you. How much compassion or force do you need in terms of holding your head to point out where you are getting in your own way and things like that. And so that being said, there was like one particular ritual that we came up with together that you told me that you still do to this day. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had told you that I felt like my spark just wasn't there like it had
Mhm.
been previously. And I was really wanting to get that back. And one of the things that you encouraged me to do was to set some time aside in the morning to take a candle and to literally light a match and
A
light my
match, not a
spark.
lighter.
Not a lighter, it was a
Yeah.
match. And to light the candle and just kind of acknowledge, it took 20 seconds, but it was acknowledging like, this is me lighting my spark. And this represents the light within me. No one else can blow it out. Like, this belongs to me. And I still do that. I
Mhm.
don't do it every single day, but
Yeah.
I do it so often to the point where I actually led a little mini wellness retreat in January, and it was
Mhm.
called the Ignite Your Spark Retreat. And one of the activities I had all of the participants do is literally what you suggested I did 2 years ago that I
Yeah.
continue doing. So, and they all thought it was really great. And I think of you when I do that. I really do.
Let's talk about perimenopause and menopause. If you've been feeling like your body's betraying you, you're not alone and you don't have to suffer through it. That's where MIDI Health comes in. MIDI connects you with expert clinicians who actually understand women's midlife health. There's no guesswork, no dismissing your symptoms, just real science-backed solutions to help you feel like yourself again. They treat things like hot flashes and night sweats, trouble sleeping, painful sex, vaginal dryness and libido changes, weight and body changes, brain fog and memory lapses, moodiness, anxiety and depression, period problems, hair and skin changes, and more. Booking a virtual visit is fast and easy. There are no membership fees, no hidden costs, just specialized care covered by major insurance providers. And if you're out of network or uninsured, there are affordable cash options too. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com. I want to take a minute to talk about something I've struggled with, my relationship with food and my body. In my 20s, I battled an eating disorder for years, and finding the right treatment was frustrating. One of the biggest barriers was that insurance wouldn't cover it just because I was still having my period. I had to navigate so much of it on my own, and I don't want that for anyone else. Eating disorders are so common, yet we don't talk about them enough. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to Equip, a virtual evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps you recover at home. No putting your life on hold, whether it's work, family, or the things that bring you joy. Equip gives you a full care team, a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and even a mentor who's been through recovery. They treat people of all ages, all types of eating disorders, and best of all, is covered by insurance and has no wait list. If you or someone you love is struggling, don't wait. You deserve help. Get a free consultation with Equip today because healing is possible and you don't have to do it alone. Visit equip.health/noise to learn more about Equip's virtual accessible eating disorder treatment. That's equip.health/noise.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I love that. But my hope is that like for the rest of your life, when you light a match or even a lighter, is that you think of that, because here's what I want to point out for the people listening. And that was the first time I'd ever assigned that to a client before, and everything's always, it's boutique. It's whatever works for you. And I use my intuition. My intuition taps me on the shoulder and like whispers in my ear, like suggest this thing or see if this might work for this client. It's the intention. It's about, here's what I think that as women, like we're missing is even like you said, 20 seconds to just choose yourself. Choose yourself. That's what that comes down to. Is that fair? Is that what it felt like?
Absolutely. Just really being intentional about doing that and kind of getting my mindset kind of ready for the day and starting with that.
I love that. It's been so long. I don't remember even like kind of how it came about. I think knowing me, like what I did was I probably asked you, like, what are some things that you already incorporate or that you've done in the past that you could see yourself doing again, and that you and I came up with that. So you did end up moving. I remember that.
I did. Yes. I ended up moving.
That was scary for you. That was a big decision. We didn't just like hammer that out in one session.
No, absolutely. So I ended up moving and it was absolutely the right decision for me. And I'm very happy with that decision. A lot of really cool things unfolded for me shortly after I moved. And it felt like the right fit. It really did. So I could have easily talked myself out of it. I could have been scared.
You tried to.
I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
It's coming back to me now. I think I asked you, am I remembering correctly, is that at one point I asked you, tell me what you're getting out of staying where you are, because you would talk about it like the place that you wanted to move to with such joy. And then I was like, why are you staying? And that I think helped you make the decision.
Yeah. And the reason why I was initially going to stay is because I didn't want to disappoint others. But in doing so, I was kind of sacrificing my own happiness.
Disappointing yourself.
Yeah, disappointing myself. Yeah. And then shortly after we wrapped up our initial sessions, I know we've met for some maintenance sessions here and there, but shortly after we did that, I decided I was going to take your book, 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life, which I had read before. But when I turned 36, every week I read one of the chapters for that whole year. I told myself it was my kick-ass year.
Yes.
And it was so empowering, and just, I'm so grateful that I did that, because it was kind of a game changer of kind of incorporating some of the things that you and I had talked about in our life coaching sessions, but just kind of getting a weekly dose of, that. And
what were there any standout chapters that you remember? Because it's a lot of them.
Yes. I mean, there's 52.
Yes.
I would say cannonball out of your comfort zone was a big one for me. I had wanted to start a side business, and I was kind of scared to do it, but that helped kind of push me to do that. I do have the book in front of me. So tell 5 people about your secret dream, stop apologizing and people pleasing. Living your passions equals living a kick-ass life. And those are some that just really jump out at me right now as I'm glancing at the list.
Yeah.
But
it points to where you were at in your life in general, and more specifically starting the side business. I remember you talking about that. And from what I recall, what we did was just break it down. What I tried to do is help you see that, what if it was just easy? What if it just wasn't a big deal? Micro steps. And then I remember you texted me because serendipitously, will you tell the story? What ended up happening with that business at the hairdresser?
So I had made this move. I was getting my hair done. They were asking me, well, what do you do? And I told them that I'm a mental health therapist. And then I had said something along the lines of I'm also thinking about starting my own little jewelry business where I'm going to make jewelry using genuine gemstones, authentic gemstones. And the hairstylist that I was meeting with was like, oh, that's cool. And she asked me a few different things about it. And then later on, when I went up to go pay, the owner of the salon came over to me and he said, hey, I overheard briefly, you mentioning you're starting a jewelry business. I'm actually really looking for those types of bracelets and earrings and things to sell in my salon, but I haven't found the right fit just yet. Is that something you would be considered, you would consider? And I wasn't even initially going to go to that salon. I didn't really know where to go because I had just moved, and I wanted to get an appointment with someone who someone else recommended, and they weren't available. And so I just decided, okay, well, this place sounds good. I think about, what if I hadn't gone there? What if I hadn't decided, and what if he hadn't been there that day or hadn't overheard? But he really helped me kind of launch my business essentially. And it's grown since then.
I died when I got that text. I was like, are you kidding me? I look at those as winks from the universe. The universe is flirting with you. When you make the decision, and sometimes before you make the jewelry, it's just the act of saying out loud that because you didn't have to tell the hairdresser that. You could have just told her what your day job was. And I love that. That's showing up for yourself.
Definitely.
100%.
And that was one example of many things that just kind of fell into place.
What would you say, if someone asked you to just summarize, in a sentence or two, what either your biggest takeaway was, or, what you learned from our work together about yourself and your life, what would you say?
It's so hard to summarize into a sentence or two. Really, I would say checking in with yourself to be very true to yourself and to be authentically you, and kind of discovering what that looks like and what that means, what that means for you.
Yes.
Because we all have, opportunities that we can go after, or we can talk ourselves out of it, and just believing in ourselves. It's so huge.
You did it. You summarized it.
Okay, good.
I love that. You said something really important that I want to just expand on for a second. I would bet everything I have that everyone listening right now, if someone asked them, do you want to live a life that's authentic to you? Do you want to live your best life? They're all going to say yes. But that can look wildly different to Kathryn, to Andrea, to the person listening. And so what life coaching can help people do, this is sort of the beauty of it, really. Like if we had to summarize like what life coaching is first and foremost, if the client doesn't know what that looks like for them, what does that mean in action? Daily habits, actions that you're afraid to take, actions that you're not afraid to take, relationships that need tweaking, relationships that need to happen, like the nitty gritty of what it means and looks like to live an authentic, amazing life. What is that? And for you, you talked about it like in the very beginning, and it can be kind of scary.
Definitely. Yes. But it's easier when you have someone to kind of be there cheering you on. It really is.
And thank you. And that is my strength. Like one of my strengths is helping people navigate what's next for them and making it fun and uniquely theirs.
Absolutely.
I love this so much. It's been so great to connect with you. I appreciate you so much. And everyone listening, thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable. And thank you for listening to this mini-sode. And remember, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. Bye for now. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. I would be so incredibly grateful if you haven't done so already, if you could leave a review of this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Super easy if you already listen to your shows over there. But if you don't, or maybe you have the app on your phone, but you listen to the show on a different app, if you could leave a review for this show, it matters so much. I wish I could express how much it matters. I also wish that it didn't matter so much, but alas, it does. So if you haven't already, please go review and rate the show. It would mean so much to me. And thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day.
Are you a parent in need of a laugh and a little escape? Look no further. Parenting is a Joke is the podcast you've been waiting for. Hey, I'm Ophira Eisenberg. I'm a stand-up comic and parent. And each week I chat with one of my top comedian pals who, just like you, are juggling careers, busy lives and schedules, and raising a family. You can expect candid stories, hilarious mishaps that happen on stage and at home, and just a lot of laughs. There's no expert advice here. Well, actually, sometimes a good idea does sneak its way in, but mostly just pure, relatable fun to remind you that we're all in this parenting adventure together. New episodes of Parenting is a Joke drop every Tuesday, so tune in, get ready to laugh, unwind, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own parenting. Because sometimes that's exactly what your therapist, pediatrician, and bartender ordered. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform.